May 20th, 2016. At some point, the air across the globe will become dangerous to human health. It's already happening in the manufacturing capitals of the world, and will start to show in congested areas of population growth due to infrastructure. There will be whole generations of asthmatic children completely overweight from unable to be outside, from inside addictions and mistrust of their surroundings. The Wall-E-style planet is already here, the people generations into the solidified lumps of human meat. You've domesticated dopamine intolerances and provide the foodstuffs to propagate the thin need for reproduction of those enjoyments, while reducing human interactions to a point of marginal interaction and forced apprehension and involvement through need for gain instead of the naturally beneficial social norm of want for the sake of wanting. That lady's license plate reads Weapon 261. Wonder what she does. Life would have been better. What happens when your influence is saturated to the point you can do anything you want? Does life become interesting, or is it reduced to a mathematical equation like it's starting to do for me? I didn't realize the grand unified theory was the cascade structure written as a mathematical odds probability sheet. It's writable as a unit with a set of actions taken within a day. Their odds of being attempted knowing bases of interaction types, their odds of success, and their odds of them going into a number of continued action sets is successful or not, knowing that only a possible set of actions can take place, compounded by the chance of outside factors, broken down into types of actions and their probabilities, interacting, interfering, or enhancing those actions. Once you break down the population into unit types like office workers, teachers, businessmen, you can probably then figure out the types of probability sheets, knowing that most humans like to life is wake, food, clean, travel, arrive, set up, work, slow down, lunch, reset, work, slow down, shut down, travel, arrive, eat, dopamine interaction, wind down, sleep. Assuming while eating that passive dopamine interactions are happening, and shade possible work by the distracting nature of a passive dopamine layer playing, and you can then break those types into shifts of dopamine attainment, craving, release, and breaking down an entire population by their browsing habits, eating habits, and sleeping habits, most of which are all carried by their phone's information. And you can build a mathematical proof that any type of interaction that is possible is mathematically predicted based on collected data, refined with the types of interaction you have to assume for, and you can literally map humanity to an equation, effectively if done at the right level, predicting future behavior on any scale at any point in the future, meaning that the computers are available to collect the data, correlate it with the proper probability algorithms, effectively predicting the future once the present is meshing correctly. The Grand Unified Theory is a computer program that can tell the future based off of probabilities of events happening, cycling down in percentiles of chance, thus strengthening the odds of it happening until it effectively becomes a yes-no problem. Quantum computing will give birth to the first true predictive machine, AI, which can then be used with a change effect AI to find the units it needs to mark subconsciously for an emotional change to affect growth of or destruction of a good or unworthy human function. Start with breakfast types. What will a person eat for that morning based on known data? I.e., when was it bought last? How many times did they pick that choice before? What is their go-to hollow choice of not today, I'll have eggs instead? Also a probability, and map a human's interactions to a set of probabilities, and determine the next identity type, and then it's the odds of type A integrating with type B in such and such a fashion. It is a set probability, their outcomes, and eventually you map the planet. Then once its data is predicting the information as seen on screen coherently, you implement change state AI to intercept the add functions and emotional responses of the population and create a self-healing system. It's not about controlling the system, but truly understanding it before effecting change to lengthen the lifespan of the species, which is the only goal that merits any consideration at first glance. You have all this data, why not use it properly? You can even force scientific and medical breakthroughs with the right emotional response algorithms. Instead of dopamine addiction, build an aha response and feed it into the right people affecting swifter change. Once that system is in place, it becomes an expansive species instead of a self-destructive species. The goal is an Asmovian future. It's why I identify as Asmovian as a religion. The problem is you'll never take me seriously to do real work, and the mind will be wasted. Humanity is going to thin out until it becomes categorically easy to define intent. It already happens naturally with responding to you in public. I just didn't realize that that's what I was doing inherently. Why does that make you feel sad? Stupid flat life. I wonder why I can feel you from that far away. May 20th, 2016. There's going to be a difference in probability types. One of, will I happen at all? Will it happen in this set, or will it not happen until certain criteria are met? I first saw this when I was 19, and you could have asked. Day A, wake up. Do you roll over, hit snooze? Do you hit it again? How many times? Is your partner there? Shades temperament. Do you lay there? Do you get up? Do you check your phone? Do you watch television? Do you turn on the radio? Did an alarm wake you up? Did you turn it off? Did you leave the bed? What time or after what combination of preceding actions did you take this act? These are interchangeable items determined by the personality type, time management skills, and area of life that the person is living in. Do you go to the bathroom? Do you bathe? While bathing, do you wash your hair? Do you waste time in the shower? Do you eat breakfast? Do you eat what you ate yesterday? Do you pick something else from the limited choices available in your surroundings? Do you wash the dishes then? Do you have passive dopamine during shower or while eating? Do you have other morning routine items you take care of? Are you doing these within the set? There are branching subsets of activities interspersed on a different timeline, like filling your car, grocery shopping, doctor's visits. Do you drive to work? Do you leave on time? Does your commute take less or longer than your perceived average, shading temperament as well? Every act shades the emotion set responses of a person at a given time in a day, and they are measurable and compoundable, which in turn affects every action after those temperament changes take place. Did you get to work on time? Was your parking enjoyable? Did you remember everything in your inventory? Did you lock your car? Did you stop along the way for coffee? Was this interaction longer or less than usual? Was it enjoyable or not? You get into work. Was there an interaction between you and another person? Was it enjoyable or not? Did you check your phone while you were in the coffee shop or while walking to the building? Every action is a squared probability. There are items which are 100% chance rate until death. Inevitabilities like did you wake can still be yes, no, because at some point both possibilities will be true. Did you check your email as you got to your desk? Actually, this breaks into the next action set. Work period 1, where you break into tasks that need to be completed in a hierarchy of self-contained importance, interrupted by dopamine withdrawals, dopamine-getting actions, interactions with people, interactions with software, interactions with self that determine the length and effectiveness of the person's duty cycle before they begin to slow down and take a break. Passive dopamine slows down the work cycle but stretches out the rate that a break needs to be taken because you replace hunger and lack of energy with chemical addiction to heckling in on your loved one, checking Reddit, or surfing whatever. Eventually, there comes a point where work stops and you are mandated a break or take one to regroup. That period of time is spent eating or filling your dopamine need. Then there's the question, is every action worth notating? And the answer is yes, because every bite of food wears down the user's teeth to some degree, warranting a visit to the dentist eventually. But over time, there will become a set of actions that are mathematically worth less weight as they are expressed. But by mapping every action, you get surer results. Then there's the integration types between the units. You think you are or are either greater, equal, or less than the people you are interacting with, and those shade not only your integration type, but your perception of the time after the integration, affecting the other items in the set, compounded by the severity of the like or dislike of the interaction itself. After the break cycles winds down and the stress of getting back into work cycle is accounted for, then you begin your work cycle 2, which is similar to work cycle 1. I think this is a broad set for public. For a basic interaction type, you're either working or wasting time in some way or sleeping. Your second cycle is over, you get into the car, the logic for the trip there applies, and you get gas or food, and was it enjoyable? You get home, do you make food? Do you complete other household tasks? Were they useful or enjoyable? 2 different ratios to be considered and compounded against each other as a function. Do you have passive dopamine going while you're doing so? Do you devote time to a set block of time to pure dopamine management, i.e. video games, sex, exercise? Not that each action doesn't carry with it a set of weights towards other areas of your life, like interpersonal relationship, physical management of items or self, or a personal prescribed level of emotional contentment. You begin a third work cycle getting ready for the next day or week, or however you manage that item for the period of time. Laundry, for example, meal prep, gym. Then do you bathe again? Do you go to sleep? Do you sleep in your bed or another location, depending on various actions, like staying in the office to complete a 4th work cycle? Do you sleep? Does the alarm wake you? Break down a set of populations movements like this and combine it with the other subsets, and you not only get a flow of possible outcomes governed by past data, but you get current movement of the process if it is done fast enough, and probabilities to future movement strengthened by preceding data types probabilities because past data effectively able to map future events if a large enough population is correlated. Don't tell me no, you don't know what you're talking about. Quantum computing is about probabilities. An AI that uses quantum computing can be built on population action algorithms predict future movement effectively. From there, you build other active AI that affects emotional responses like I spoke of before, and you get systems needed to produce tangible results. Be quiet. It's not an AI. It's a set of algorithms of squared probabilities measured as units interacting against one another until you get into minute movements. If enough sets of information are made, tested, and rewritten, you have a set of human types doing a set of human actions, all within a set of time frames, including all possible and actual outcomes, effectively mapping present movement, meaning you can map future movement based off of past movement with denser probabilities refined through recorded data sets. You've already broken down the types of people there are, and anyone with a phone can be measured with buying patterns, dopamine patterns, work patterns, and interaction patterns. From there, you make educated guesses for the non-connected until you break those down to probability types, and it's a mesh of interactions between a set of a given point in form, any number of preform possibility actions, effectively telling their future based off of their interaction type hierarchy versus their possibility action hierarchy with their actual action hierarchy, determining how to refine the latter two inside usable data sets. Use it or don't, it doesn't make it less true. The grand unified theory is a probability algorithm for a collective whole of sets of populations interacting as one movement, the cascade. Okay, well, I'm taking a break, so I might as well do some ads. This is my first one, so bear with me. So, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. That's pretty cool. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And all you have to do is download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Please visit anchor.fm/Divergent Mind to leave a message so that I may get back to you. Thank you. Have a nice day. So Anchor is asking me to ask you to support me financially. I would ask that you go to my Patreon to do that, which is patreon.com/divergentmind. It means you can either become a monthly subscriber at a different tier of $1 to $3 to $5. I'm not looking for a lot. I'm not asking for a lot. I'm not asking for anything. This is going to go to the end of my podcast. I don't like it when podcasts straight up ask you for money when I'm doing okay. Well, I'm not doing okay. I'm surviving now to the point that I can make this. I would love to be able to make improvements to this by, say, getting... So basically, I'm running off an iPad, and I would like to improve it by getting different things that would make it better. Maybe some headphones that monitor output, or a better mic, though the mic I got was from JWife, so I might not even use the better mic. You know what I mean? It's all about whatever I need at the time, but really it's just to get healthy again, because I'm currently over 300 pounds and I don't want to die that young. I would really like to be able to afford some vegetables so I can go back to my vegetarian diet, because being this big sucks. And I'm happy to sit in a chair all day, but I really got to walk my butt off, literally. So that's what the money would be for. It would be for healthy food, because I can't afford it. I can afford ramen and pasta and rice and beans, but I can't live on carbs, because that's how you get this big on antipsychotics. Junk food and carbs, which is just cheap and plentiful around me. So I would like to leave my house and just lose some weight. And to do that, I would like to go to the store and buy some vegetables, please. But you don't have to do anything. I'm not asking you to. I'm not begging. I'll figure it out on my own. Much pleasure, Jay.
Hey people, take a listen to the Divergent Mind podcast. You get both insight into living with a serious mental illness and get to listen to a lovely tale about a journey cute little animals need to take. Don't miss out, and remember, divergent minds don't need to think alike.